Stick a fork in it. This Comcast-Time Warner deal is done. It ain't happening. Pity, because that's going to rob us all of the chance to see whether two companies, each known for their horrible customer service, could have made a go of it as one big company known for its horrible customer service. Now, that should have been the market's call, consumers' call, not the government's call. But what worries me about Uncle Sam potentially crushing these guys' wedding, and crashing it too, is all the other weddings it stands to crash as well, even if it never even shows up at the church at all. How many other firms will start rethinking their own trips to the altar, their own marriages, their own mergers? There might very well be good reasons not to let Comcast and Time Warner tie the knot. But I'm telling you, and I think market pros Dave Manning and Rob Basso will bear me out, it is an unfortunate side effect when it ties up lots of other companies in knots as well. And that's what I think is going to happen, Rob. I think we're going to see that.
Yeah, I think this is reminiscent of 2011 when AT&T and T-Mobile were trying to get together. The FCC is supposed to protect the consumer. I think in this case, why can't the consumer protect themselves? Shareholders will decide if this makes sense. And you might very well be right. Maybe there are legitimate reasons why this shouldn't work. Let the shareholders decide. Why does the FCC need to get involved? I think they're reeling from off the heels of the new net neutrality rules and the things that have gone on place. I think this is why you're seeing this kind of contraction and this kind of heavy government involvement. And the administration is loving it. I think the Obama administration, this is part and parcel of what we've seen since they've been in office, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
You know, I'm looking at it, though, Dave, and wondering whether it's beyond just politics here. The fear was, if you want to take it at face value, that, you know, you don't want this concentration as such that consumers could be at a disadvantage. By the way, as if they're not already. But where does this go? What signal would it send to other deals in the making if the fear is that these giants couldn't come together? Because remember, the approval of that deal, or the first announcement of that deal, triggered a lot of other deals.
Well, here's the problem. I don't think there's a good set of guidelines or a clear understanding of what this administration will and won't allow. It doesn't really have a clear policy that says these are the kind of things you cannot do. And look, we both know this administration has zero people who have a fundamental understanding of how business works.
But, you know, to be fair, I think this would have gotten a lot of scrutiny under the Bush administration. It's so big, so entangling. I just think that the environment, this is part of the latest example of it, right?
Well, there's two different issues. I happen to think this is a crummy merger too, but on a whole different set of issues about technology and the bottleneck it creates and natural monopolies. But on the other hand, when you have like this AT&T T-Mobile issue that got shot down before, or now the AT&T DirecTV merger, there's not a clear policy there, and there's not a clear thing that says, hey, look, this one's about market synergy, or this one's about savings on distribution costs. All it says is, don't even go down the road. And as you know, it is a giant undertaking for two companies to try to get together. It is a huge distraction. It sucks up board and senior management time. And you don't want to go down that road when you don't know what's going to happen.
I say let the free market decide. Let the shareholders make this decision, not the FCC.
All right, but when you say that, are other companies that were looking at doing even deals that were a fraction of the size wise in cooling it?
What I think, no.
Or should they wait out this administration?
No, what I think they're going to do is they're going to be just as aggressive in the marketplace, but they're going to plan better to see if these mergers would actually, you know, come under the same amount of scrutiny. So I don't think this is going to stop people from wanting to have large mergers. It affects these big, huge organizations. If you're a smaller company, this is a non-starter. No one's paying attention to it. But big ones like AT&T, like Comcast, they're just under higher scrutiny. That's what it is, Neil.
You know, Dave, what's ironic in this situation is that the government kept a number of banks too big to fail. Yeah. They just have a problem with everyone else being big.
They do, and I actually don't agree that this won't hold up other people from consideration. I mean, if you think about this, I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for these guys, but they have been, you know, they've been dragged through an extraordinarily long process when it should be much clearer at the front end whether things will work or not.
Have you ever been on hold with either of them? They should be waiting. I'd love to be the government saying, if you're still looking to merge, press 3. If you have time to grow a beard, press 4. They should be waiting. See what it feels like.
It couldn't happen to nicer guys.
Exactly. Guys, I want to thank you both. In the meantime, forget whether